Welcome, my friends, to Top 3 Bob. I'm Bob, helping you towards your goals of becoming healthy, wealthy, and wise. Today the topic is Top 3 Advice from Harvey Mackay. Many of you may not know who Harvey Mackay is. He was popular during the 80s and 90s. In fact, he was a best-selling author. I have many of his books right here. I think I have 7 of them right here. One of them is even signed by him. He got fired. You can see the writing there. Dear Robert, knowledge does not become power until it is used. Also, I suggest you not read this book, but study it, underline it, highlight it, use Post-it notes. Fire up Harvey Mackay 1505. Harvey's books became popular around, well, the first one, in fact, started in 1988, and that's right about the time I started my business. So I always felt like he was kind of my own personal business advisor. He gives these little bits of practical advice that you can use. And there's three pieces of advice that kind of stuck with me, and every so often I'll regurgitate it, I guess, to my staff and say, this is what Harvey would say. And so I thought I'd go over those 3 today. By the way, in case you want proof or want to know what Harvey looks like and proof that I know him somewhat, here's a picture of us two. This was in around 2005 also, when he was speaking at I believe a dinner in Winona. Okay, let's start off with the top 3. The first one is what he called the law of large numbers. And this works in a lot of areas, but especially works in sales. If out of 10 people, let's say you present your product to 10 people, normally out of those 10, I'm just picking this number out of air, 1 may easily buy the product without giving you much hassle. Well, the law of large numbers says, well, if 1 out of 10 will buy, well, if you go to 100 people, then you're going to have 10 sales. If you go to 1,000 people, you're going to have 100 sales. So the idea is that it's a numbers game. You need to go out there and you need to put yourself in front of a lot of people in order to get sales. And this works with other areas of business also. The second thing that, item that sticks with me, a piece of advice, is don't say no for the customer. And this happens quite often. I talk to my staff and say, hey, what do you think about trying to make a presentation to this company? And they'll say, no, it could be a number of reasons. They hate us, they've never bought from us, we've tried to sell to them before and they say we're too expensive. But what you don't know is, or maybe you do know, is that people change their mind for a number of reasons. I'm going to give you an example. We sell therapy services. That's one thing one of my businesses does, is sells therapy service to nursing homes. We provide physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy to the nursing homes. And there was one nursing home that was managed by a large company, and that large company had its own therapy services. So of course, we could never provide services to them. Wrong. We kept sending them letters. What does it cost to send a letter to a place? We'd send one a month, every month for a couple of years. Well, it turns out they were very, very unhappy with this large company's therapy services. And so eventually the large company said, go ahead, you can use these people if you want. And we ended up getting the sale. I can give you numerous examples of that, of how it worked throughout my lifetime. So don't say no for the customer. The other example I often hear is, they didn't call back, so they must not be interested. Well, people are busy nowadays and they don't call back for a multitude of reasons. So don't ever assume because someone's not calling back that they're not interested. Always follow up on the phone call. Number 3 is network. Harvey Mackay is the king of networking. Very outgoing. He had a networking system on how he would keep track of his customers and friends, and very extroverted. I, on the other hand, am somewhat lean towards introverted, so it comes a lot harder towards me. But I see examples throughout my lifetime how networking has enriched my life. Harvey, I would say he in fact states that he would do without just about anything. You could take away all of his wealth and he wouldn't care as long as you gave him his Rolodex where he kept track of his friends and family and clients. I'm going to give you one more example of networking. My wife, who was raising my 3 kids for many years, our 3 kids for many years, was thinking about going back into the workforce. And our older kid was probably a sophomore in high school, last one in the home, and it was right during the Great Recession. Right during the grips of it. Employment was at 8-9%. And all she did is kind of put the feelers out that she was looking, and she was a great volunteer. She volunteered everywhere. She pretty much worked full-time as a volunteer. Well, she got job offers from more than one place just from her volunteering. In fact, she ended up getting a job offer from the school that she used to volunteer at and that my kids went to, and it was a great job. It was a job in admissions, and she never even really solicited the job. They came to her. They just heard the word that she might be looking, and they offered her the job, and she's still working there to this day. So without a doubt, networking, I think many of you know that, and I'm myself, by the way, I'm looking for a system now in which I can keep track of my network, and I'm looking at Evernote, and we'll have to do maybe a video on that and see how that works out. So anyway, those are the top 3 from Harvey Mackay. I hope that helps. Let's roll the quotes.